Welcome to the Texas Goat Radio Show. I am your host, Matorius.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about mind control, and we're going to
Mind control, something that Owen Benjamin does to his bears because he is, in fact, a cult leader. He controls the minds of his bears by programming them to accept, tolerate, and even enjoy, to a certain point, abuse on multiple levels: psychological, mental, and I'm not going to say that.
talk about how I'm currently on Twitter trying to break the taboo of having an alternative view of.
He's going to break the taboo on flat Earth, as though that has not been a thing for a very, very, very long time, and even peaked in mainstream a few years ago.
The shape of the Earth. And I'm not someone to be trifled with, guys.
I want to put emphasis on what he just said. I'm not one to be trifled with, because this is a 1980s action movie.
Single-handedly, with the help of the Bears, broke the How Dare You. Remember 5-6 alternative view of the shape of the Earth. And I'm not someone to be trifled with, guys. I single-handedly, with the help of the Bears, broke.
I single-handedly, with the help of the Bears. This is a person with a self-proclaimed 147 IQ who just made the statement, I single-handedly, with the help of the Bears. IQ, high IQ, doesn't involve, or you can have a high IQ. It doesn't take into account for pride. He made a couple of posts yesterday on Twitter that blew my mind, because he took absolute credit for the entire crowdfunding endeavors over the last few years and everything that he has done. There are live streams where he flat out is showing Ursa Manor, his homestead, and he says, this is what I'm doing on the homestead on Ursa Manor that you guys helped me create. But pride comes before the fall, and we are watching the fall of Owen Benjamin. He is far too prideful and far too greedy to maintain the gravy train that he has been on.
The How Dare You. Remember 5-6 years ago when people could literally just say, how dare you? And everyone was like, oh. We mocked that into dust. And same with, I was with you, or you, sir. Because I noticed on Twitter when I just make points or talk about homesteading or anything, there's a constant ankle-biting spellcraft going on with the Joey Diaz edible that I somehow lost my mind and it's still kicking in. It's a way to dehumanize and discount any point I make on anything. And then also,
it's a way to dehumanize. Victim blaming 101. Dehumanize. They are trying to dehumanize me. I want you to think that people hate me so much that they are literally trying to take my my human aspect away. They're trying to make me less than human. They are dehumanizing me. Now, this is the same man that has the song The Blank Stole My Bike, and then openly and blatantly makes multiple racist comments every single live stream in the name of comedy, thinking that he can masquerade as a comedian while just being filled with hate, with greed, with jealousy, with envy, and not to mention hate.
know that I do not believe we are standing on a ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour. So I'm meeting it head on, and I spent last night while I was lying in bed with my almost 21-year-old dog, trying to, get him to sleep. And my wife was dealing with her.
I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to come back to I'm not going to put y'all through this whole thing. So I'm going to pause this and then come back to it.
FF and repeated. Good point, Coddington. And also, I just wanted to point out that there isn't a single flat earther in the world who is vaccinated with the Pfizer COVID-19 jab, and none of them are transgender. So for all
This is one of the biggest, I would say, arguably so, the most problematic aspect of Owen is his ability to manipulate his listeners by doing what he just did. He just made a ridiculous, unprovable statement and presented it as fact. And this is a perfect example that if somebody were to call him out on this, because he presented it as fact, that in comedy, I'm not going to explain comedy to you. You know whenever something's funny. That wasn't funny. That was in a conversation that he's being serious with. And if you were to call him out on that, he would say, well, you just don't understand comedy. Okay, maybe I don't.
you scientists out there, I would say people with alternative views of the shape of the earth have a significant reproductive advantage. Just something to think about, that there isn't a single flat earther in the world, nowhere, no country, nowhere, who saw the COVID-19 narrative and said, you know what? Those global depopulationists who give each other awards for lowering the population, I'm going to take my medical advice from those people. None. And there's also no one that says, you know,
So he's reinforcing this asinine, ridiculous blanket statement as though it's fact. And this is a good example of him being who he is. This is what he does. And then if you call him out on it, he'll backtrack and say he was just joking. And he's not. He clearly is not joking.
have a penis and testicles, I'm just going to chop that off. So I'm going to say just mathematically over time, if the variable is time, people with alternative views of the world will have an advantage. And let me tell you where one of my alternative views of the world came from. When I was 11 years old, I've always been very good at...
Oh my... We're going to end this. We're going to end this video with this story, because this story, he is presenting this to be not a funny story. He's presenting this to be a 100% true story. And this is the most ridiculous I'm laughing at you, Owen, and not with you, Owen moment. If you know who Mark Cuban is, you'll see some similarities with Mark Cuban's newspaper story. This is the most ridiculous thing. Not the most ridiculous, because I forgot who I was talking about. This is up there. This is on the top 10 of Owen Benjamin. Straight up bull hockey.
At calculations. Mathematically, over time, if the variable is time, people with alternative views of the world will have an advantage. And let me tell you where one of my alternative views of the world came from. When I was 11 years old, I've always been very good at calculations, as the Chinese man said in the movie Batman. I'm very good with calculation. Okay, I was a paper boy of the year. My bike was stolen, same year. And I started realizing that I wasn't getting my Christmas tips. Okay, this is a true story from the childhood of one Mr. Big Bear. This is the type of man you're dealing with. Okay, at 11 years old, I went to my manager at the Palladium Times newspaper in Oswego, New York, in 1991, and I said, I've done the math, and I don't think that I'm getting all my Christmas tips, because a lot of times someone would tip me for bringing them the gravy, bringing them the newspaper. I've been doing this since I was 9. I've been in media since I was 9. You bring the elderly people, and my dad used to tell this story to people, how proud of his son he was when I said that I really like being a paper boy, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, that I'd walk every day after school, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't know what was going on in the world if I didn't bring them the newspaper, and I felt a real strong draw to service. And so I would bring them the paper, and I would always, I was paper boy of the year, as I said, and they would tip me. They always appreciated me, just like the Bears tip me now when I bring the gravy. I've been doing that. I'm 42. I'll be 43 next month. I've been doing this for a very long time. And a lot of people would give me a Christmas bonus, like a $20 bill under the carpet or something. And a lot of other people would give the bonus to the Palladium Times newspaper office. And then they would take that money off the money I had to pay up front to get the newspapers. Well, I started doing the calculations because I had a high trust relationship with my customers. They would say,
I want you to listen specifically and hang on to every single word that he's saying.
oh, I gave you the Christmas bonus and down at the Palladium Times newspaper. Well, I didn't get it. And I know that human beings conspire. Human beings lie. Human beings are capable of stealing from a child. So I said, I'm not getting my Christmas bonus. And so my manager, her name was Patty. She was a really good woman and used to take me to trailer parks where I would get people to sign up for the newspaper and I would get paid $5 per person to sign up. I've been in sales since I was 9 years old. Okay. She looked into it. It turns out there was a woman that I had said hi to many times. I always got a weird feeling from her that was stealing all of my tips. She then went to jail because of my investigation at 11 years old. So I know people lie. I know people steal. I know.
This is the most ridiculous, asinine story I've ever heard. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but this is up there. He is telling the story as he was 11 years old. He was delivering newspapers with a bicycle. His bicycle got stolen, so he had to walk doing this. He was 11 years old. He had a amazing relationship with the people that he was delivering newspapers with, or two. And so he realized at 11 years old that it was the same year that he received the award for Paperboy of the Year. Is that a thing? Oh, man. At 11 years old, he realized through calculations and his high relationship status with his customers that somebody at the whatever times, Pelopitian times or whatever he said, somebody was stealing his tips. And so through his investigation, the thief went to jail. Not for anything else, but stealing an 11-year-old Owen Benjamin's tips from newspapers. And so in this story, you have to believe that he was 11 years old when this happened, that his bike really got stolen, that he was Paperboy of the Year, and that he noticed because of his relationship with his clients that his tips were missing. So he was having conversations in person with these people that were having their newspaper delivered to them because they did not want to go to the newspaper office to pick up the newspaper. But these people, these elderly people that were so in love with Owen as the newspaper boy, would not just hand him the tip. They would get in their car, drive to the newspaper office, give them the tip, and say, hey, this is for Owen because he's the best paper boy in the entire world. And then somebody would take that money and steal it from an 11-year-old Owen Benjamin, which caused Owen Benjamin to break out his pen and pad, do calculations, realize that he was not getting the tips, and then end up a grown person went to jail because of these actions. That is what you were expected to believe.
Institutions can be structured around falsities. So when someone says to me, oh, you're being paranoid, why would they lie? They steal from children, okay? They're thieves, they're sociopaths, and I don't give a shit.
I want to make a note that whenever the Bertaria thing was going on a couple of years ago, he literally told people to sell their 401ks or whatever, cash in their 401ks and other questionable things that I can't name off the top of my head because I'm not familiar with that lingo, but it was gross. And so this man literally has stolen money from families, from children. That's the truth, no matter how you slice it. And then turned around and said, don't ask for your money back because this is a donation. And at one point he said, even if you ask for your money back, I'm going to stop talking to you and I'm not even going to care. That's what he said. This dude is a filthy, despicable liar. And I'm sorry that I'm getting emotions are high, but this is insane that he is doing this on Twitter, on everything but Facebook and YouTube, apparently.
About them, and I'll send him straight to jail again. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what NASA is. They steal from children. Okay, they're thieves, they're sociopaths, and I don't give a shit about them. And I'll send them straight to jail again.
So let's just go ahead and put a ribbon on this little present, and maybe he's speaking for himself in the future. Is there a potential jail sentence for Owen Benjamin Karras Troy Smith, the 47th? And if you want to know why I say that he's the 47th, because it's probably the 47th mask he's put on. So this is the Texas Goat Radio Show. I'm your host, Matorius, and this was a video on Owen Benjamin Karras Troy Smith, the 47th. Leave your comments down below. Do you think he's going to go to jail? Do you think that he is... Dude, that story, man. Oh, man, that story is so asinine. Anyways, the Texas Goat Radio Show. I'm your host, Matorius. Like, share, comment. As always, stay free, my guys.